Right.
I'm just gonna minimize this so I can
Okay.
share it.
There you go. I think we're
Oh, there we go.
live. There we go. All right. How's it going, everyone? This is Judy Vergara here, and today we are hanging out with Laura Millard for episode number 26 of Entrepreneur in the Spotlight. Laura here is a money mindset coach, and she's going to help you find your money mojo. So tune in because your mindset is about to be woke. So, Laura, give us a little bit of an intro and give us a little sneak preview what it's like inside your world.
Okay, so as you said, first of all, thank you for having me on. But yes, so my name's Laura. I'm from the middle of the UK. I've been a coach now for 2 years, specifically kind of launching my money mindset mojo work over the last kind of 6 months, just because I think women really suffer with that, and I think it's something that we really struggle with. So that's kind of been 2 years of my coaching. But yeah, from the middle of the UK, got my partner and my little dog. So I live in like a nice little bubble, I suppose, but it hasn't always been that way. I've had to work very, very hard to kind of get where I am now. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Mindset is one of those things that people really tend to brush off to the side, but in reality, it really does play a big part in a business, in success, anything really that you want to achieve in this life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really big on that because for me, mindset, like people, I heard so much when I first got into business. So I've been in business since I was like 21, and I've had different businesses. And I've always kind of heard this, mindset is like 80% of what you do and 20% is action. And it took me a long time to kind of be like, no, like mindset's 100% of what you do. Like everything is governed in your, like, whether it's life, business, whatever it is, everything is governed by like what's going on in here. And if that's not right, what you're putting out there into the world and what you are doing is never going to work. It's never going to be right. It's never going to work the way you want it to work.
Yeah, you can have the best strategies, best marketing funnels, but all that's useless without your mindset. So
absolutely.
Laura, you've probably already touched up on it, but break it down for us. What's your subject matter expertise?
Okay, so when I first started coaching, it was I worked with women primarily around anxiety and fear. So I quite openly share my story. I didn't have the best upbringing. On the surface, my kind of childhood and early part of life was very rosy. Lived in a beautiful house in the middle of the English countryside. But what people didn't see was that there was a lot of domestic abuse in the family home. There was a lot of issues around alcohol and all these kind of things. And it really sent me on like a shitty path because I was always that happy, confident person to everybody else. But in the background, I had horrendous obsessive compulsive disorder. I was terrified to do anything. And these were things that people, like, unless you were really close to me, like, didn't have a clue. I was always this, like, bright, bubbly person. And it didn't really start to affect me till my teenage years. And then when I turned 18, I got my first loan and credit card. And that was when two kind of worlds of chaos collided. So I started going down a very, very bad route in terms of anxiety and fear, but also started going down a very, very bad route with money. It was bad. And over the kind of the 7 years that followed that, I just got worse and worse and worse. And I had such an entitlement mentality. I was negative. I didn't sleep. I wasn't healthy. And somebody introduced me to a mindset coach. And I was like, I don't need any of this. I'm really happy and positive. And it wasn't until I started working through those things I was like, actually, you know what, I'm really not. And I remember sitting in my doctor's surgery and them saying, like, we want to put you on a course of antidepressants. And I was like, hell no. Like, I am not against them. I think they absolutely serve their place, but I was like, you know what, that's not what my story's going to be. So I took a pretty radical decision to kind of move away from my parents, who had been the primary source of chaos, and then went down this road of, okay, self-discovery. Who am I? Who did I want to be? What did I want to think like? How the hell did I get out of the debt that I was in? How did I stop fearing everything? How did I calm my anxiety and my panic attacks down? And then that kind of sent me on a 3-year intense journey. And then I was like, you know what, I need to teach women this stuff. Like, there are going to be people out there that have experienced the same things as me. I need to be teaching this. Like, I need to tell people what I've learned, because this is awesome. And through coaching, you know, I got into like the law of attraction and manifesting and really being kind of aligned with what you want. And that led obviously into the coaching world, because I just knew that I was being called to teach people what I'd learned and how I'd got out of the chaos that I'd been in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So break it down for us, the exact steps. Well, not exact, but like the few steps that you took in order to get yourself out of that rough moment.
So I accepted that there was a problem, was the first one. I think a lot of us, like I did, we sit in denial for a long time, thinking, you know, everything's fine and we can get through this and we're just having a bad day and blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes it's really hard to sit there and go, you know what, I feel shit and this is not normal and I don't want to feel this way. And then the second one was getting support. So for me, I sought support from a mindset coach. That was the route I went down, just because I felt that was the right route for me to go down. And I really felt like I needed to connect with kind of me and who I was and my values. So seeking help in some form, you know, I think we think we've got to do this on our own. We think that this journey that we're on through life and business, you know, especially, I think, you know, especially in Britain, in the UK, we are the worst for this, because we have this stiff upper lip that like, no, I can do it on my own. And it's almost, I know I did. I almost got offended by somebody even suggesting that I needed a coach. I was like, no, I can do it on my own. So definitely recognizing that there's something wrong, and then taking the steps you need to get help and the support you need, whether that's in business or mindset. But then really committing to it. That was the biggest one for me, staying consistent. And, you know, I remember thinking that I had a great mindset routine. You know, I'd read The Secret, because that's what everyone tells you to do when you start working with mindset. Read The Secret. And I'd read The Secret and I listened to audios. And it wasn't till I actually realised the work it takes to work on yourself that I had to, you know, schedule time in. Like, this had to be something in my diary where I had like time to do this. So I think the commitment to actually wanting to completely change your world and realizing that you can do it are kind of like the 3 key steps to really see a massive change.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that part where you know the pride takes over. You're way too proud of yourself. I don't need help, forget you. You know, there's a certain point in your life where you just admit to it. You just take responsibility. Okay, it wouldn't really kill me to just freaking ask for help. You know? Yeah.
And even, you know what, even since I've been working with my own coach, there are some days where she'll say things to me and I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you don't need to say that to me, I already know it. And she's like, but if you knew it, you'd be doing it. And I'm like, God damn, you're right. and I think even now, I just think it's human instinct. And I think that's where the commitment side of it is, and being consistent. I think that's where it comes into play, because you do have days where, you know, even when you've got so far on your journey that you just feel like crap. And it's those days actually that you have to be more consistent and committed to seeing the transformation more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's awesome. So you probably already touched up on it, but so far, what is that most brilliant light bulb moment you've had? That one aha moment that just started shifting everything around for you?
that would 100% be when I realised I had the power to change things. I had and this was a massive one for me around money, especially, and that's why I moved into money mindset coaching, because that was the biggest thing. I kind of got to grips with everything, not totally, but I got to grips with a lot of other things, but the shitty money beliefs I had, I couldn't shake. And realising that I had the power to do that was so liberating, because up until then I'd had such a victim mentality, and it was everybody else's fault. It was my mum and dad's fault for the way they'd raised me. It was the bank's fault for giving me a credit card and a loan. It was the shop's fault for not letting me return the pair of shoes that I'd spent a ridiculous amount on and didn't need. Like, everything was somebody else's fault. And when I actually got real and was like, do you know what? No, I've done this. And even the situations that I found it really, really hard to accept I'd brought on myself, once I accepted those and I forgave myself for them, and I sat there and kind of thought, you know what? If I could get myself into it, then I can get myself out of it. Realising that I had that power to shift my thinking, and actually realising I had the power over my own mind. Like, we don't realise how much external circumstances and people and situations govern what we think. And actually, that liberating thought of, I can wake up in the morning and I can decide whether I want to be in a good mood or not that day. And I can decide whether I let a situation piss me off. And I can decide whether I let a person piss me off. Like, that was massive for me, like, realising that I had the power to do that. I was like, God, I'm more powerful than I thought. So that was the big turning point for me, when I was like, you know what, you've got control over this. This is on you. And if things are going to change, it's got to be you that changes them.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Yeah. It's just, wow, I'm just speechless, really. Like all this time we keep searching for, trying to knock over that domino that's holding us back, when in reality it's right here. It's standing in front of you.
It's internal. Absolutely, it's internal. And you've hit the nail on the head. I think we search for this like answer, and we search for this book or this formula or this, we join a list because somebody's given a free PDF away on 5 ways you can grow your confidence. And yeah, there are things that we can use, there are tools that we can use to help us do that. But ultimately, it's all bollocks. Like, ultimately, sorry, you said I could swear, and I'm like, now, ultimately, that lies totally with you. And that's what that's what I found hardest at first to believe, but when I overcame, that was the most powerful thing, because it's a bit of a slap in the face, but actually when you realise that you have the power to shift your thinking, and you have the power to attract what you want and create the life that you want, things change in ways you don't even realise. And that's what's so magical about it, and that's what's so wonderful when I see that happening with people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Like I said, like it's tough to explain, but the law of attraction just works, right? I personally use it in my personal life. I use it in my business. It just does. It works. Like, absolutely. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah.
and you know what? You're absolutely right. It's really, really hard, especially because, I'm sure we both encounter people that don't believe it. And, my argument is, whether you believe it or not, it's still working. If you don't believe it works, that's what you're going to get more of. So you're never going to see the evidence of it. And, I remember talking to one client who she really had never had any experience with it. And I just said to her, one night, go out in your back garden and just look up at the sky. Like, if you can't look up at the sky and believe that there is more out there and more to this universe than is in the 4 walls of your house, because there is just such an enormous power that goes on around us that we kind of don't even recognise until we get attuned to it, until we get kind of connected to it. But when you do, and when you realise that you can harness that for your own good, and that it will never say no to you, it will always give you what you want, good or bad, that's when I think the shifts start to happen, and people start to think, well, if it's going to work anyway, I might as well try and use it for good.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So you probably touched up on it. What held you back from going all in when you first got started?
Fear was a big one for me. Fear. I think of I for a long time, you know, I didn't share my story. I didn't share that, you know, nobody around me at this point. I hadn't connected with like-minded people. The people that were immediately around me I'd never talked to them about the law of attraction. I'd never talked to them about my, you know, apart from immediate, you know, partner and family, nobody knew kind of the situation really that I'd been brought up in. So for me, I had such a fear of, one, being so exposed and actually jumping on a Facebook Live and saying, do you know what, this is why I'm qualified to coach people. But also the fear of people thinking I was just bonkers, like the fear of me coming on and saying, oh my God, guys, do you know what? Like, I manifested £1,000 today. How awesome's that? Like, I was literally like, people are going to think I'm crazy. So the fear of, I never really thought I had a fear of that until it showed up, until it really showed up and really put my head. I was all like, I don't care what people think. But when it took time to hit publish on my business page, and when it took time to go live on Facebook, I was like, shit, I really, like, this really is a real fear for me. So I think getting out of my own way, in the sense of being real and being authentic and realizing that I had something to offer, that certainly held me back for a long time. But again, it was a mindset issue. Once I worked on the mindset issue, there was like no stopping me. I was live every day.
Yeah, something magical happens once you stop giving a crap about other people's opinions.
That's it. Like, when you just say, do you know what, screw you, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna be me, and the people that like it will stick around and the people that don't won't. But again, it was a mindset issue. It was all in my head.
Yeah, crazy or not, you still, you know, manifested £1,000, so forget them.
That's it. I was like, screw you, I can do it. I know this works.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, what the reality was, nothing came of that. You know, everybody I've encountered has been super supportive of the journey that I'm on. But then other blocks present themselves, you know, things like just letting go and not being, I've always been so controlling, because obviously growing up, that was the only thing I had control of in the chaos that I was brought up in. So for me, control has always been a big issue, and actually just learning to breathe and go with the flow and just relax and have fun, that was a big one for me. And you know, you speak to most people and they wouldn't think having fun would be an issue, would be an issue you need to work on, but that was the biggest one for me. Like, that was another huge one for me, just being able to relax.
Yeah, that's it though. I can't explain how it just worked, but you said everyone that you've worked with so far has just been, you know, everything's just a breeze. But that's attraction marketing.
That's it.
It's the art of attraction marketing. That's it, at its finest.
That's it.
I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah. just
let go. And you know, and I really struggled when I first started my business. I've done a video on this today actually, because when I first started my business, I was like, and I'm all for it. I know it works for a lot of people, but I was really trying to find my ideal client and to find my gap in the market and to find my niche in business. And when I actually reversed it and I was like, actually, what do I want to do? What do I want to say? And what's my message? That's when exactly what you said, attraction marketing kicked in, and the people that actually I wanted to work with started flocking to me, because they were like, oh, she's talking about what I want to talk about. And you know, there's a power, I think, in just doing your own thing and being easy and aligned with what you're doing, rather than kind of forcing and putting the pressure on for it to happen.
Yeah, no, that's something that, you know, it still plagues me every once in a while. I just have this so much pressure on me that I'm like, wait, maybe if I let go, things would just work itself out, and it does. So
that's it. I have my best days. I talked about this today. It was so funny. My best ever day in business was a day that I fell down the stairs. But I got up and carried on, and I'd had the morning like dancing around the kitchen and just being I'd done pretty much no work, and that was my best day in business, because it was the first day in weeks that I'd just gone, I'm just gonna let go and not give a shit, and I just let it come to me, because this is taking up too much negative energy in my head. And once I did that, the shift happened in my mind, and that was it. You know, the money showed up and the client showed up, and you know, it always works. It always happens that way.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Now, this is another story. Just last weekend, right? I was so sick. I was just, not doing anything, right? I'm taking meds and then it knocks me right out. And then, in between that I'm awake, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, I haven't done a single shit today. It's gonna hurt my business. Like, I
It's
don't know why
gonna
I'm saying like one day is gonna hurt my business, right? And then I'm like, forget you. Went back, took another nap, and then got up, logged onto my back office, and there it is, a $3,000 commission.
there
So
you
there
go.
you go. Yeah, you
But do
just
you know
let
what?
go.
How hard is it if somebody had have told you that? And I had the exact same conversation with one of my clients the other day, and especially because obviously money is my speciality. Because money is something that we need in this world to function, people put pressure on it. They put pressure on themselves on it, and they get so fixated on the money's got to come, the money's got to come. And it's the hardest thing when you've, and I remember being in this position, it's the hardest thing to tell somebody, just go to fucking sleep or go to the pub or go for a walk. Like, just stop what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you almost let go of it, that's what brings it to you. You've already put that out there that you want that. Once you let go and relax, that's what brings it to you. And I quite often tell my clients that. I'm like, for God's sake, switch your phone off, go and watch your favourite TV show and go to bed. Because and that was the biggest thing for me, because I'd always had this fear of being in debt. That was my fear. When I started to have the money, that then shifted to, okay, I've now got a fear of having money and losing money. So my mindset totally shifted the other way. When I fixed one issue, another issue cropped up. And then all of a sudden it was like, I can't drop my business, I can't put my phone down, I can't not touch my business for a day because I won't make money. And now I don't even think about it. And that's what I say when that's my biggest mission with women and money, is that once you get aligned with that, and once you actually see it as a fun energy and not something to be afraid of or scared of or anxious about, that's what brings more of it to you. Like, that's what's going to bring the money in.
Yeah, exactly. Once you put it out there, just know, trust, and believe that it's on its way, because then you're telling the universe, I'm not screwing around here, man.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I say this to people: the universe will not deliver you anything that it thinks is causing you fear and anxiety. What it's going to deliver you is more fear and anxiety. It's not going to hear you want to get out of debt. It's not going to hear give me money because I'm scared I can't pay my bills. It's going to give you more debt and more not being able to pay your bills, because it's like attracts like. And when you can make that shift, like you say, that's when you let go, and that's when the magic starts to happen. That's when momentum starts kicking in, and that's when you start to see money in the bank, and you start to see clients start to be healthy, feel better, and the world becomes a much more fun place to be.
Yep. Oh man, just dropping the value left, right, and center. So, Laura, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, do you know what? Be myself and show up consistently. They were the two biggest things. I think so it's so easy for people to say to you, do you know what, you can do this and you can absolutely do that. But if those beliefs aren't there, you don't buy into them. In the early stages, when you're feeling shitty and when things are at an all-time low, you don't. But people say borrow somebody else's belief. You can't borrow anyone else's belief. You can't even fathom the fact that you can you can get out of that mess. So for me, it was very, very easy just to be told, okay, just be yourself and show up, because my brain was like, okay, I can do that because I don't have to put any extra effort into being myself, because I can just talk and be me. If I can't commit to showing up at least once a day, then I've got bigger problems than I thought anyway. And if somebody hadn't have said that to me, if somebody hadn't have said, you know what, be authentic, be real, and show up consistently, I wouldn't have started to have built the belief, and I wouldn't have started to see results, and I wouldn't have started to have seen the transformation. And that wasn't just, in my business. That was show up to your mindset work consistently, commit to doing it every single day. So that they were the two biggest things for me, two best pieces of advice, because nothing else, the belief wouldn't have followed, and people saying, oh, you can do this and you're going to be an awesome coach, that none of that would have set in until I'd have started to have seen the results myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. So what's a one personal habit that's just a must for you on a daily basis?
Mindset work. I
Mindset
do
work.
so much of it. Oh my god. If I had to narrow it down though, specifically doing it in the morning, doing mindset work in the morning. And this is something I'm so passionate about, because no matter what happens in your day, you never know when you're going to get up in the morning where your day is going to go. You never know if you're going to be called on an emergency, or you're going to get scooped up doing other stuff, or errands and chores and all of that kind of thing. If you can commit the first at least 10 to 30 minutes of your day to you, before you look at your phone, before you switch the TV on, before you make coffee, like whatever you do, if you can commit that time, one, it's going to set your day up right, but two, no matter what happens in that day, you have still done the most important task of your day, because your most important task every single day should be working on yourself. So for me, that's the one habit that has to stick, regardless of where I am in the world, what I'm doing. I wake up in the morning. I say no phones, but I keep my phone by the side, which is awful. It's one habit I am trying to break, but I keep my phone by the side of the bed just because I have my mindset training on there. So the first 20 minutes of your day, we quite openly, we talk about it and say the first 20 minutes of when you're awake is when your subconscious is at its most impressionable. So the first kind of 10-15 minutes, my earphones are in, and as I'm kind of coming around and waking up, I've got positive vibes going in, garbage in, garbage out. So I want to be feeding the best stuff possible into my brain. Then I will get up and I will do gratitude straight away. So that's going to be the next 10 minutes, and I'll what am I grateful for, and I'll do 20 to 30 things of gratitude. And then I'll do a bit of journaling, or a little bit of okay, how have I woke up feeling today? What do I need to get out of the day for it to be the best day possible? And then I'll kind of start my day in I'll go and switch the kettle on, and I'll kind of have a shower and kind of come round. But mindset work in the morning is the one thing that I would just never ever be without.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Mindset work is number one. You go to the gym every day, but you also gotta go. If you go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, you gotta go to the mind gym 7 days a week.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And I get from, and this is just a bit of a side note to that, but I get people say so much I don't have the time, or I'm too busy helping other people. And I'm like, you know what, when you get on an aeroplane and they do the little safety video at the start, they always say, put on your oxygen mask before you put on anyone else's. And that is what I always say to people. If you've not got 10 minutes in your day, you need it more than anybody. If you can't find 10 minutes to do mindset work, you need that more than anyone. But you are no use to your family, your friends, to yourself, to the people you want to serve, if you are not right, and if you are not operating right, and if you are not plugging into your highest potential, and you're at your highest vibration, and you're waking up feeling good, and you're excited for your day. And it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's they overcomplicate mindset work. Okay, if you can't find the time, and don't lie to me, I know you're doing this. You're watching us. You're doing this. And you're doing this is when you wake up in the morning. How much you pick up your phone? How much time do you spend scrolling on your phone? How about pick up a book?
Yeah,
or
10
listen
pages
to
of a book.
Yeah,
10 pages of a book. It doesn't, and you're spot on. People overcomplicate it. I get people message me all the time. They're like, what do I do for mindset? Just pick up a pen, read a book. I started reading The Secret, listening to audiobooks. Then I started, okay, what does YouTube have to offer? What does my coach recommend? And then I kind of okay, now I'm going to pick up a pen and paper, and I'm going to start, okay, just saying thank you, and what do I feel thankful for? And then I'm going to start journaling, and then I'm going to start, writing out things that I love about myself, and then I'm going to start writing about 30 reasons why I love money, and but all that had to come. But initially, you're absolutely right, just plug your earphones in and YouTube it. There's no excuse.
Exactly. Instead of hitting the email app or Facebook app on your phone when you wake up, hit the YouTube app instead. But don't listen to the rap music either.
That's it. Yeah.
Go for the mindset
And that's
stuff.
the thing. People get up and the first thing they do is they check Facebook, they check their Instagram, they check their emails, and all they see, 90% of what comes up on there is other people doing the same thing and moaning about it. So the first thing their eyes see, the first thing they hear in the morning is crap and garbage in, garbage out. If you put in garbage in, especially at a time when your mind is the most susceptible in the day, that's literally you basically, you know, you're setting the tone for the rest of the day, and you're saying, right, well, this is what I'm going to feed my mind now, and that's what your mind sits on. And it's the same thing when you go to bed. The last 20 minutes of your day, what you look at in the last 20 minutes of your day before you fall asleep is what your mind will process overnight. So it needs to be good. You know, we need to nurture our brains and reprogram our subconscious. We've got enough external shitty stuff going on. You know, you only have to turn the news on to realize that, you know, we need to be friends to ourselves, and we need to plug in and train the right stuff in there.
Yes, absolutely. It's it doesn't take long, like Laura said, you know, 20 minutes, that is it. You can, you know, like if you still can't find your time, you know, before bed, if you still have that excuse, I mean, that's fine. You still have an excuse that you can't do it in the morning, Sundays in the morning, that's on you. But, you know, on your commute to work, if you're taking the train or taking the bus, instead of just looking outside the window, you know, earphones in. Yeah. You know, there's still that, but again, you know, like it'd be nice if you do it once you wake up, because your subconscious is super active at the time.
Absolutely. Right? You know what? For people that get a little bit overwhelmed and people that think, oh God, well, this is a massive thing. It's like going to the gym, and people think, oh God, you know, if I start the gym, then I've got to commit to it for the rest of my life. Do you know what, guys? It takes 21 days on average to form a habit. So just set yourself that target. Just do it for 21 days, because I promise you won't stop once you've hit that mark.
Yeah, once you hit that mark,
don't overthink it. Don't let it reduce you to overwhelm. Just say, you know what, each day I'm gonna do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and build it up that way. It's a muscle. It's got to be worked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's one thing that you're super excited about right now? What's one thing on the go that you're really pumped out about?
So I have just actually relaunched my new 12-week program.
Nice.
So I ran a 12-week mindset program, which was completely geared for, you know, all aspects of your mindset, relating it back into your business, and kind of kicking your ass that way and getting, you know, good routines, breaking old patterns, reprogramming negative thoughts, clearing blocks, shifting all that crappy stuff that's holding you back. I have recently moved that into a money program. So it's the same 12 weeks, but it is purely focused on money. So it is literally going from, okay, where are you now? Are you in debt now? Are you hitting those £500 months, but you want £1,000? Are you hitting the £1,000 months, but you want £5,000 months? Are you hitting 5,000, but you want 10K? All that kind of stuff. Because there's so many, especially with women, there's so many limiting beliefs around money. And what a lot of women don't realise is that's what's holding them back. They don't feel worthy of that money. They've not got the self-belief that they can earn that kind of money. They've not got the belief that people will pay them that kind of money, that people will buy their services. So I really looked at the 12-week program I was running and was like, right, you know what? I'm completely being called. This was not something I planned to do. It was something that I just knew I was being called to do because I knew so many women out there needed it. So I'm so excited about that, because it is 12 weeks in depth, intense, to kind of completely transform your relationship with money, go from shitty beliefs and negativity and anxiety, fear, stress, worry around money, to being excited about money and having a beautiful relationship with money, and feeling, you know, excited and happy and kind of vibrant about it, and getting more of it into your life, attracting more of it into your life, learning how to manifest it, learning how to be aligned with it and use it as the energy source that it is. So that 12-week program I am really excited about at the minute.
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, once we're done here, drop a link in the comments here where they could learn more about that.
Thank you, I will do.
Yeah, absolutely. Drop a link in the comments and we'll
But yeah,
check that
that's
out. Yeah.
really exciting times at the minute.
Yeah,
There's going
it's
to be
gonna
a
be fun.
lot of money transformation going on over the next few months.
Yeah. We'll just smash those limiting beliefs
That's
like
it.
nobody's
And you
business.
know what? Get these people earning what they're worth, and get people believing that they can have this money and that it's something that they deserve. Like, I'm so big on that, because you know I kind of came from £15,000 of debt, and it's not the worst debt story, but it's not the best. The best debt story, but it's my story nevertheless, and I know the things I had to overcome to get out of that, and to start earning what I was worth and charging what I was worth, and you know, even if just a handful of women in the world can do exactly the same, then it will make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Nicholas Mann says consistency is king. Yep, absolutely. And then absolutely. And he also says it's funny how after you've went through the things, that everyone else's excuses are so obvious as scapegoats. Oh yeah, actually that's pretty true.
Yeah,
That's
and you know, I get
Yeah.
that, but again, I think that's exactly what I did. It's not, I almost hate the word excuse, but it's just that shifting in what you think. You know, for me, I never ever stopped to question that I could be the problem. I never stopped to question that it was me handing over the card to pay for things, that it was me not paying bills every month. I never stopped to question that. It was always somebody else's fault, and that's where my excuses came from. So again, I just think, you know, a few tweaks in your mindset and the programming that happens in your brain, whether it's to do with money or fitness, health, whatever it is, that's when you start to call out your own bullshit. And you start to say, you know what, actually I'm almost, and I got to that point, I was almost a little bit embarrassed to say my excuses, because I was like, I know they're a load of crap.
Yeah. So, Laura, before we wrap this up, I know it's been fun, guys. I know I personally don't want to wrap it up yet, but
I can talk for England. You need to wrap it up, because I will literally be here all night.
So, Laura, before we wrap this up, give us a parting piece of guidance. What's that one message that you absolutely believe that everyone needs to hear?
Honestly, and I always say this sounds so cliche coming from a coach, but get a coach. You cannot put a price on investing in yourself at that level. And this was the biggest thing for me. If you'd have asked me this 12 months ago, 2 years ago, I'd have probably had a completely different, you know, it would have been something like don't give up and be consistent and all of it. And all of those things are absolutely true. But you know what? Having somebody that's walked even one step ahead of you, that can stop you wandering off into the trees and getting lost on your journey, who can literally tell you it like it is, because they've been there and they're literally saying don't make the same mistakes and get there a lot quicker. Having somebody in your corner, and having somebody that's going to pick you up on the days where you don't want to pick yourself up, and who is going to understand you, and who is going to get you, and who is going to pull you from where you are now to where you want to be, and literally like they're going to up level you. That to me is priceless. And anybody out there that has never had a coach, or never considered having a coach, or is considering one and hasn't taken that step, because that was me for a long time, there is no part of that investment that you will ever regret, because it up levels you in a way that you cannot do on your own. That for me, you know, go out and find somebody that you resonate with, that gets you, that has walked your path. Find somebody, because it took me, you know, the coach I work with now, she was fifth or sixth coach that I'd spoke to, because I had to find someone that I really clicked with and that I really meshed with. But I cannot put a price on what she has done for me, you know, professionally, personally. And exactly the same with my clients. I'm sure people, you know, that your viewers that, you know, have worked with, if they've had experience of that, but you can't put a price on that level of up leveling when you actually invest and you get a team in your corner, or you get somebody in your corner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what is it? Studies show that you're 88% more
Yeah,
likely to crush your goals if you hire a coach.
yeah,
Mainly because, yeah, this also connects to, what Laura just said. And, like Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And guess what?
yeah,
Your coach will be around all the time, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? And I always say, because I mean, obviously he's a guru in our industry, but do you know what I will always say to people? If Tony Robbins needs 3 coaches, I am not better than that man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am not at that level. I am not better than that man. And if he needs 3, then I will always need at least 1.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the
And
way I will always view it.
yeah, absolutely. No, I didn't know that he needs 3 coaches.
Yeah, he has
Now,
3.
yeah. If
Well,
the
he
man
he
himself,
did. I went to one of his seminars a couple of weeks ago. It was actually one of his
nice.
leaders, and he actually said, he's got 3 coaches, and I was like, do you know what? I can never. How can I ever say I don't need one?
Yeah, yeah,
I need a whole
absolutely.
team. I need like a tribe of coaches.
Yeah, if the man himself needs 3, damn, I'm gonna
That's
say I'm
it.
gonna need a team.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah,
invest in yourself. I suppose
yeah,
that's the message I'm trying to
yeah.
convey. Don't ever be afraid to invest in yourself, because
Hmm.
it will be the best thing you ever do.
Yeah, like take it from someone who I do investments here and there, but the only investment that gave me a guaranteed ROI is not the ones that are playing on Wall Street. No, it's not that. It's me, my
Yeah, yeah,
coach, my personal development, the books I read,
yeah.
the podcasts, and it's the same for you. It doesn't matter. You can take your money to Wall Street. Sure, that might give you a good ROI, but it's not guaranteed. Like it would
Yeah.
if you invested in yourself.
And a coach doesn't have to be, I say a coach, but to me, Jim Rohn's one of my coaches, because he's in my ears every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins is a personal coach of mine, because he's in my ears, or in a book in front of me every single day. It doesn't have to be, if you're ready to take the investment and spend thousands of pounds and invest in a one-on-one coach, then brilliant. And I would highly recommend that. I know it's shit scary, but I would highly recommend it. But having a coach or a mentor doesn't have to be at that level. If you're new to mindset work, if you're new to working on yourself, if you're new to self-development, it can just be spend 10 quid on Amazon and have Dale Carnegie as your coach for the month. So it doesn't have to be as kind of full on initially, but just having those people in your corner, in your ears, in front of your face, on the phone to you, whatever it is, it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. Start with the free resources and then go for the $10 one and the £10 ones. Yeah.
Work your way up. You're ready. You'll know when you're ready to go from a book to a self-study program to having a one-on-one coach. You'll know, because it's a natural progression. You'll know when the time is right for you to step up and say, okay, now I've hit a plateau. Now I've hit as far as I can get with the free resources, with the books, with the self-study. Now I need somebody on the phone, on a Zoom, on Skype every week, in my corner, telling me, guiding me. You'll know, because it's a natural progression. It is, because your mind will tell you, it will go, okay, I've hit my upper limit now. And if you can't, if you're consistently not able to get through that upper limit, that's the time you need to take the step, and that's the time you need to invest.
I already hear, like, with the back of my head, but Laura, Judith, where do I find the free resources? Well, what the heck? Laura's right here. I'm right here.
That's it. You need to go to Facebook. They're everywhere. Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is a damn gold mine.
Oh my God,
for free resources. Yeah. Yeah. So, Laura, before we wrap this up, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
So primarily on Facebook, because my website is under construction now. I've decided to take the plunge and actually have one done, but you won't get me on there. But on Facebook, I am Laura, your success coach. So I can always post a link in here, but you'll always find me on there. That's my main page. Or feel free to connect with me on my profile. A lot of people do that as well, but you'll find me there, or on Instagram under the same handle as well.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with Laura and myself here in Entrepreneur in the Spotlight today. And Laura, thank you so much for hanging out and dropping some major value.
Yeah. Oh, no. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It had so much fun over the last 43 minutes. I didn't even notice. So
I know, there we go.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
just talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had so much fun, and thank you again. And guys, thank you for hanging out with Laura
Yes,
and I. I
thank
love you guys. I
you.
appreciate you. Thank you for always being here. We're 26 episodes in now, and you're still here. Thank you so
Yay.
much. And all right, so if you don't want to miss out on another episode, or if you're new here and you don't want to miss out on another episode, or you just want to check out my free training, right? Free live training, there should be 3 dots depending on where you're watching from. 3 dots, hit that. Make sure to turn on live notifications. That way you never miss out again. And if you're watching the replay, don't forget to keep the hearts, the likes, the shares, and the comments coming in, because Laura and I would still see them and we'd still be interacting with them.
Yes,
All right, guys. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Cheers.
see ya. Bye.
Bye.